everybody? We are back. It is Saves on Life's Favorite Raiders podcast, Favorite Raiders channel, Favorite Raiders everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at Glen Rockney for Glenn, and of course pandasubs.com. Discount code TDL for 25% off. All right, so we are back. Again, this week we're going to be doing our Raiders GOAT team semis here. So we're at the semifinals. Of course, we'll finish it off with the finals as well after that. And then, we get into some Raiders news. There's been a little bit of Raiders drama going around a little bit here. So we'll get into that. And then, all the Raiders drama, all the Raiders news, and answer all your guys' questions. So come in with your questions. Of course, guys, I think I got some voicemails too. See, I got some voicemails as well. So we'll get into that as well, guys. So, Glenn, how are you feeling today, man?
Well, good. I mean, some of the news seems a little troubling that we're going to be talking about today, but otherwise pretty good. We're definitely in that slow part of the season, I think, but the Raiders might have some news for us that makes it not slow, in maybe a bad way. I was thinking things were a bit too quiet, but other than that, can't complain, right? We're on everybody listening and watching is on the right side of the ground.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I just, so some of these things that, of course, we talk about today is just, it's a little depressing, especially when you're expecting a lot of big things from basically Wilkins this season, right? It's a little bit on the depressing side, but I mean, the Raiders are gonna have to make do, man. I mean, it's just what they got to do. I don't. It's like hard to even talk about, in my opinion, because it's kind of pissed me off a little bit. But when you sign an older guy like that, I mean, he didn't have an injury history. It's like this the most Raiders thing ever. So,
well, the way it happened too, right?
Yeah,
that's still what bothers me. Is it was a freak. They were celebrating, right? Isn't that when I mean, I know he had like the injury a little before, but it like really made that injury happen, and then in the rehab, so it was like, that's a bummer, but we'll talk about it. It is what it is. At least I will say is at least this is not 2 days before the season like Malcolm Kuntz last year.
Yeah.
That one hurts because you're just like, you've already done the inventory for what you have for the season to expect, and then during a practice, that happens. At least now they can make, a corresponding move at least.
Yeah, that was before the first game too. That's like game week.
They said it was non-contact during like almost a walkthrough, basically.
Yeah,
it was just one of those. We had just a couple freak injuries last year. This is a lingering thing from last year, unfortunately, with Wilkins.
Yeah. So hopefully Kuntz is healthy too, man. Because if Kuntz isn't all the way healthy, and I think he is out there practicing. So I mean, he must be okay. But
I think they were getting ready for him to basically be fully ready by camp. I don't think they wanted him to do anything crazy during the mini camp thing, and they just wanted to say, look, when we get to training camp, I mean, you figure these guys aren't learning too much. They're not installing the defensive line. I mean, particularly is you have Patrick Graham, Rob Leonard. I understand Pete Carroll's there, but how much is Pete Carroll's philosophy really going to be for the D linemen? How different is that going to be? I think the DBs have a little bit more to work on in terms of Pete Carroll stuff. But D-line, it's like, look, healthy Kuntz out there. That's what we want. We want Kuntz when he's 100% ready to tear around the edge.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to stick with Patrick Graham's like defensive stunts.
Right. Rob Leonard, there's no new coaches there. Yeah, so
it'll be the same for them. So, yeah, I still think they'll be able to manufacture some pressure because I still think they did a little bit without Crosby, too. I mean, Chason had the 5 sacks. You saw Lalu has some sacks. Lalu might be a starter, too, with Wilkins being out. So there's a chance he might get some playing time. And then, just the defensive line will still be the strong point of the team. As long as they have Kuntz and Crosby, I think they'll be all right.
Agreed.
Yeah. Who's that? You could try being guess some franchise guys. Deep dive.
Who's the franchise guys?
I have no idea who that is.
I don't know who that is. Well, tell them.
Yeah, let them know.
I'll show up, but it's their show. I'll show you. I just off not knowing them, I'll show up with Mark. If Marcus does it, we'll do it, but tell them. Yeah,
for real. Marcus, I got a potentially juicy, anger-inducing question for you. Who's the most talented QB the Raiders have ever had?
Talented?
I
That
don't.
doesn't necessarily mean best, right?
I know. That's because talented. That's kind of hard because I'm leaning towards the guy towards Marinovich with
It's actually an easy answer because
y-
people
y-
don't. It's Jim
y- y-
Plunkett. Jim Plunkett went #1 overall out of Stanford. He was now it didn't go
ah
well after that, but he had much like Marinovich was wow, watch out for this kid in college. Jim Plunkett was the real deal in college. I believe he was a Heisman winner. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he
yeah.
was a Heisman winner at Stanford. And I mean, Russell was talented. I mean, you're talking about just talent, but
Yeah, I feel like it is Russell, but I just don't want to,
no, it's not right. I mean, you got to do something on the field for me to say that you were talented, But yeah, I'm telling you, it's probably Plunkett when you think about it. When you talk about wins versus raw talent, I mean, he was the best college quarterback when he was coming out that year.
yeah. I mean,
Patriots took him first.
Jeff George.
He's in the top 3 in my opinion for sure. Because
Yeah,
he tore it up for the Raiders. I thought he was a good quarterback.
yeah. Jeff George is basically like Jay Cutler of the '90s.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good call. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Cutler is like, Cutler is like, oh, like how do you not win when you're this talented and you get this? You're athletic, you can throw, and Jeff George is kind of the same way. They got kind of the same personality.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm. So totally. Yeah. I could see Jeff George like people are saying like beat writers that can't. When you watch him like throw in probably like 7-on-7 or just like you're probably like what the hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with that speed they had with Jeff George, all that speed. Tim Brown, didn't they have James Jett at the time?
Mhm.
Didn't they have Willie Galt? I don't know when Willie Galt was a Raider, but it was like they had speed, man.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, they always did, but Jeff George plus all that speed. But to me, it's Plunkett. I mean, like people, the Raiders got him at his lowest point, so
Mhm.
people don't think he's that talented. But the Patriots took him #1 overall, and it was a pretty unquestioned pick.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's a good call out. It's a good call out.
Mhm.
Jeff George would be like a top 10 quarterback on every list. If the film nerds were back in the '90s, they would just, I don't know, man, we could just do something with George because he'd be making all those throws, like
Oh,
both the
sure.
Falcons and the Vikings and stuff when he's playing those games. Like, I think you should just go with Jeff George, man. I think he's still top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
He'd be a film nerds guy, just like,
Oh, yeah, he absolutely would. I mean, he was like trying to think like who, was he like a Winston kind of like a Jameis Winston in a sense? Maybe
yeah, kind of.
yeah, I don't know. He was seemed kind of similar to that where it was just like, oh man, I just want to see him throw it deep down the field.
I mean, when he was with like the Falcons and
Colts,
like Colts, not even the Colts. I mean, Colts, he sucked. He sucked ass with the Colts. But he got with the Falcons. He actually started playing pretty well. And then he came
Washington
to the
too.
Raiders.
Wasn't he? Wasn't he at Washington after the Raiders?
Yeah, and then he had a good year in Minnesota.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, with Randy Moss and them. But like that's what I'm saying. Like that's why he would be that guy that like everybody's like, he could keep playing or something like that. The film nerds would love him because it's probably there are some crazy throws. I bet if you went and looked at his throws like with the Falcons and stuff like that, because that's what I remember him being good, and I was excited he was coming to the Raiders because he was good with the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well, and the reason I say Plunkett, saying I never saw him play. I mean, I've seen recordings of him play football and stuff, so it's not that I've never seen him. But to me, it's first off, you had to have 9 times out of 10, you had a big arm when you were a Raiders quarterback. I think Stabler was actually a bit of an anomaly. He could get the ball downfield, but I wouldn't say Stabler had a cannon. Like the way other Raiders quarterbacks did. But Plunkett could get the ball down the field. That's what enticed Al Davis about him, was like he had a big arm. I don't know how mobile he was. So maybe some OGs in the chat could talk about maybe he could run with the ball. I don't think he was like that, but no, he could throw the damn football. Is what he could do. That was what he was. He could get the ball to anybody, and the Raiders were putting him on a team with. That's how bad Mark Wilson was, right? Because Plunkett just steps right in and plays pretty damn good football.
Yeah.
Lead feet. Somebody said lead feet. So no, not mobile.
Yeah, Jeff George was AP. He was nominated for AP Comeback Player of the Year with the Vikings. So.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, so let's get into Christian Wilkins, right? There's rumors everywhere about what is happening with him, and his injury. Is he going to play? Is he out for the season? Is he having surgery? So, Glenn, what are your thoughts on it? And I'll give my thoughts.
So right now, I think they need to. This is not going to make anybody happy, but they need to just shut him down now. Is what I would do. I would do it now. What is the point of having somebody play through that injury, especially at 300 pounds, doing what he does on a down-to-down basis? The energy he brings, he's just not going to be able to do that, and I don't think it's worth wasting a roster spot on a guy with a foot that's not healed, especially beginning of the year. Now, if Wilkins had this diagnosis and the Raiders were, 8-3, I'd be like, yeah, push it, dude. This because we need to make a run, But right now, I think the Raiders' best interest would be to shut him down. Maybe you make a corresponding move, but hey, this is unpopular with probably half of the chat right now. But Laulu, Tyree Wilson, who's going to step up? It's time to step up. Some of you guys and Tyree Wilson. I don't think they're going to move him to defensive tackle, but they're going to ask him to rush from there from time to time. I think on third down now, Laulu. I don't know what. I'm not a big Tonka Hemingway guy. I'm not a huge fan of the pick, but he's another guy certainly that you're really on third down. You're going to be saying like, I who's going to rush for Wilkins, and then on first down, I'm not sure they have a replacement for him on first and second down. But I will say, hearing that he had aggravated or something was not right about that foot, and just seeing how big he was, I kind of immediately in the back of my mind was like, he's not going to play this year. Yeah. Like, we talked about it a little bit. I was like, well, we'll see. We'll see. I just think the feet, man, if you need a procedure, go get the procedure, because they do still have him for 2 more years after this. And to me, I would hate to have it just be this lingering thing where we're watching him play and it just doesn't look good. Then what? Then I'd rather have a younger player with some energy who's not as good be a part of a rotation than waste a roster spot on him when he's not healthy.
Yeah. See, the thing with Wilkins, I know people are wondering, isn't it the only new thing that Wilkins, an AI article regurgitating the same info from 2 weeks ago and kind of said the same thing. It's just interesting with how the Wilkins situation is, because, I mean, the rumor on the street is that he needs surgery, but he doesn't want to get it.
Right.
So, I mean, he's going to play. Like, that's the thing. Like, he's going to play, in my opinion. I mean, I think he's going to play week 1. It's just, how good is he going to play? That's where it comes in for me. So, like, it's kind of the thing where, like, he is going to play week 1. He's probably going to be up there. Like, how many snaps does he play? Do they control him? Like, how do they do it? I think he'll be ready to play when they go into week 1. I just don't think that it's, people are going to judge you based on how you produce, especially Raiders fans. It doesn't matter if you're injured or not. And especially when, people have been knocking Tom Telesco. I think people can't wait to knock Tom Telesco too, right? Just because, what I'm saying? Like, it, people don't, they want to justify him being fired, especially if the Raiders are good,
right?
In any capacity, right? And, Christian Wilkins isn't playing well, but they're still playing good on defense. Yeah, that's what I think is going to be the situation, because he's going to play. I mean, I'm going to keep it real. Like,
really?
Play. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't think he is. I think he's going to try it out and try. I mean, obviously, I would shut him down now. I would make an executive decision if I was the Raiders right now.
Yeah.
It's really not his choice. That's what I don't like get. It's like, oh, he's going to play. Actually, what if I just put you on IR? Then what? You're just going to not get the surgery and just sit on IR? That's what I would do. I literally would just put him on IR now and then start, it's a psychological thing. It's like, okay, now I don't have him. I know I don't have him. I got a couple months to, figure out at camp what we're going to do there. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be a good thing or they're going to be better without him. I just mean you have more chances to just go, okay, now I need to fill this spot. Do I go make a trade? Do I sign somebody off the waiver wire to bring in as competition? A lot of these things, you have an ability to at least get a rotation going at that position. Whereas where it's like, oh, how's Christian feeling this week? How's Christian? Okay, bad. Okay. And I do it. I'm sorry. I think they still have him for 2 more years after this. And this is not a year where I expect the Raiders to be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
So I'd rather figure out a lot of stuff about the team this year and see what it looks like under Pete Carroll. And then the next year, oh my gosh, we got Christian Wilkins back. And who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens then. That's what I would do. I'd be safe with it.
Yeah, it goes back to the draft too, because I mean, I don't care how good Tonka Hemingway is. He is not
No,
replacing
right.
a high level defensive tackle prospect that they could probably get. This could be a highlight for the draft for us for sure. I mean, defensive tackle is probably something they looked at, but you know what I mean? They have to kind of definitely look at that, defensive linebacker, defensive tackle, and linebacker, right? I feel like those are the two focuses at this point. We even look ahead to the draft. That's the type of thing that we're looking at this point. So,
yeah, they're gonna have to, and you never know who's gonna be available. Like you never know if you're gonna be able to for a late round pick, or pick swap or something, be able to take a. They still have the money to absorb a little bit of a hit at that position, like for a 1-year deal kind of thing for certain guys. I'm not sure who's out there now, but like I said, if a team's looking to get rid of a certain player at that position that they know can help them, they're able for sure to eat that up and then not have it be a problem next year and go, hey, thank you for your service. We have Christian Wilkins next year. Or, it's a good problem to have. So I would rather just go, look, you have a foot injury, you're 300 pounds, and we need you to play one of the most physical positions in the NFL. You're not going to be able to do it to the degree. Look at what Max was last year. When Max was hurt, like he still was out there and you noticed him and stuff. But at some point, I think everybody was going like, dude, just IR this guy.
Yeah,
like he save him from himself.
Mm-hmm. It's hard for coaches to do that though. Because it's football, it's like a warrior sport. Like, yeah, look at his leadership. Look at him. He's playing on a bum foot, and he got 2 sacks this game. You know what I mean? They love. It's like coach motivation.
Yeah, I'm sure they're fighting that battle right now. I think the smart thing to me is just look. Okay, we got Malcolm Kuntz. We got Max. Let's make sure Malcolm Kuntz is ready. We got Max Crosby there. We got some young talent. I think they're pretty high on Laulu, at least as a part of a rotation. I think they think that Leaky Fotu. We'll see. I mean, maybe he comes in and has a good camp. These aren't names that I guess are getting people very excited. But
yeah,
to me, it's all about. I thought that defensive tackle position was even with Wilkins, had a little bit of a need there, or I just need somebody to prove some stuff there. But we've seen this. I don't want to watch a guy play at like 60% out there, or not even say it's probably 50%. And then he needs an even more invasive surgery. I don't, again, I'm speculating here. Maybe there's no way he can make it worse or something, but what if he needs that surgery and then he misses next year? That to me, next year, I think is when we all expect the Raiders to really make that move to I think a realistic fan base is like, okay, next year I expect the Raiders to be competing for the AFC West title, right?
Yeah,
a year 1 of Chip Kelly in there, or everybody coming back for that year. Gino's got his feet under there. Pete Carroll's philosophy has been installed, and they were feisty, in 2025. Next year, you get all that plus a healthy Wilkins. I think that's better for the plan that they have going forward.
Yeah, I mean that is a good plan. It's just I don't know if I see him going through with that. It's more about him. But like you're right, from a team.
You can IR him though. You have to. What I mean is you have to save people from themselves. Like, of course he wants to play through that injury. You hope to God that the guy that you paid the regime before you paid so much money for wants to play with decapitated. These guys want to play if they don't have a head. I mean, like, it's crazy. So you do have to just be smart and just go, look, I need that roster spot. You're not healthy right now. Mm-hmm. And right now is the good time to do it.
Yeah. People are saying it's almost worth dealing him. I don't know
for what though. You would be selling him at his lowest point. He has a huge contract and hasn't played football. It's cheaper to keep her, dude. Like, I'm just saying, like, you just look forward to 2026. Like, I hate saying this, but I'd rather not give people false hope about him playing this year.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see. It's going to be crazy though, because I think he's going to have be on the pup list, right, to start the training camp, right? I mean, he's not going to be practicing, and then we'll see. Like, it's going to be a push for him to play week 1 and then see how Pete Carroll and them talk about it. That's gonna be interesting too. Start at training camp, like his first press conference. How does he talk about what's happening with Christian Wilkins at that point in time? It's gonna give us a lot of answers.
For sure, yeah, and I to me, it's like it's a bad situation. I mean, wasn't this from Adam Butler jumping over him in Denver, basically, like using him as a springboard? I'm not blaming Adam Butler. Guys do this all the time. It's just, the Raiders are just that bad luck of a team at times, and this is the one thing from last year that bleeds over, unfortunately. Like where I was listening. I'll be referencing this a few times during the show. There was a great interview on the Get Got podcast, which is Marshawn Lynch and Michael Robinson. They had Pete Carroll on, I believe, today or yesterday or something. And Pete was really candid. It wasn't like a Pete Carroll press conference. He was like shit talking kind of, and and kind of being a coach, because those were guys he coached. And, I just think that I think he's going to have to make some tough decisions about this and just realize, like, did you really come here thinking they were going to win the Super Bowl this year? He kind of hasn't really been talking like that.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been talking like we're going to make a big, deep playoff run this year. All this team needs is me right now. This is a win now team. He knows what he's taking over. And I understand that we maybe can never depend on Wilkins again. I just know I can't depend on a 30-year-old guy with a broken foot right now playing through that. I definitely would rather bet on the recovery of the broken foot than the broken foot itself.
Yeah. You're right about Pete. I think Pete's gonna have to, build a winning culture. I think that's what their plan is. We're building a winning culture.
He doesn't think he's 73, by the way. Pete Carroll hates when you bring it up. He's like, I'm coaching this team for 8 years. I don't know what to tell you guys. And then my son's taking over. That's like, no, he doesn't view this as a 2 or 3 year thing. You can tell. So to me, you got to do it. If he's really, like he says, his benefit of him is that he's seen everything in the NFL, then you got to get this right.
Yeah, for sure, dude. All right, let's do a phone call here.
Yeah, I love this. I love the voicemail hotline, guys. What's the number, Marcus? I think people need it.
Oh, I think I took it off of here. I think it is 480-267-9950. So let me put this back on this banner here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just for so people know,
All right, then play this real quick.
Hey, Marcus, Tate, Don't Lie, crew. This is Rudy Subooty with the Big Booty, calling out of the very inclusive and accepting Oildale, California. Ready for all people to come in during Pride Month. Just wanted to real quick, I just finished the episode that you're talking about, the new linebacker we signed from the Bengals, and also DJ Glaze. More so on the DJ Glaze side of it is you mentioned struggling against faster pass rushers. Will our commitment to run also with a combination of play action that Chip Kelly tends to like to implement his offenses? I think that is going to make DJ Glaze look a lot better this season. I think the offensive line as a whole is going to look a lot better this season, just simply for the scheme. It sounds like the scheme is going to allow some of those faster edge rushers that would typically just, eat DJ Glaze's lunch. That's going to provide at least some level of hesitation, at least to help DJ Glaze kind of mitigate some of his issues he has with those pass rushers. So anyway, that was just a thought. I want to know what you guys think. Will the play action game and the run and the overall offense created by Chip Kelly, will that help DJ Glaze look better on tape, and will it help the offensive line as a whole look better on tape? So hopefully get your take on that. Reduce the video with the Big Booty out of the very inclusive Oildale. Oil me up, no Diddy.
All right.
First of all, Oildale, California, home of Merle Haggard, by the way, a country singer. Shout out. People don't know that. People don't know. People think he's from the South. He's from California. But yeah, I've been through Oildale, California before. So shout out. I felt included. So yeah. But anyways, the DJ Glaze is interesting, right? Because I watched your guys' breakdown of it. Yeah, like the athletic freak edge rusher Penn State guys are going to eat his lunch, right? Now, that being said, you hope the balance of the offense, because he's a damn good run blocker, is the balance of the offense at least keeps the defenses on their toes, right? To where they're not just teeing off on DJ Glaze. So I do hope Lincoln Kennedy was talking about this. He goes, when he goes to camp and there's no pads on, he says, I just look at like how young offensive linemen know that they know the snap count and the defensive line doesn't. Just because that guy's more athletic than you can be smarter than him.
Yeah.
And I think DJ Glaze is going to pick stuff up like that this year a little bit more, and the game's going to slow down to him like Max Payne. When you slow everything down in Max Payne, I think it's going to slow down for him like it does in these second-year players. And he might still have the same problems, but when you have Genty and you're able to line up in 13 personnel, because I think they're literally going to do 13 personnel a few times. But like 12, 13 personnel, I think Glaze is going to be really effective in those fronts, in those. And I think Chip Kelly knows what he has. And I think he, look, if you saw it on tape, Chip Kelly for sure saw it on tape that he struggles against that stuff. But he already seems to have the job. So they must seem to know how to mitigate that stuff. And maybe he's not a finished product at that, In year one, you saw it, and in college, you saw it. But if he can marginally improve against some of those athletic guys, just learn a few things, so maybe you're just not a disaster against these, combine freak defensive ends. I have a lot of high hopes for him. I think he's going to develop into a very good starting tackle, very similar to Colton Miller, just a very good starting tackle.
With DJ Glaze, and kind of to his question, is like, will play action and those things help him? Like, yeah, well, for sure. I mean, it's going to help any offensive line if you have a good run game. So, which I think the Raiders will. I think that's why Glaze is getting the spot anyways, is because he's probably the best run blocking right tackle on the team right now, right? So even if you go like with Charles Grant, he's just got to learn the game. Caleb Rogers isn't playing right tackle; he's playing guard. Unless you go Dalton Wagner or Mumford over him, and I wouldn't say Mumford's better than him. I think
no.
So when Glaze run blocks, I think he does that really well. Right. So maybe like it doesn't show up in his PFF grade every game, but his best games were when he had some like 90s in the run game with the PFF. He's had a couple games like that. So I can tell you a little bit how he can dominate a little bit in the run game if he really, really needs to. So I think that perspective with it, the play action game working, would definitely help him out in the run game, in the passing game, because he won't have to be in those third downs all the time.
Where they just know they're like, I'm more athletic than DJ Glaze, and they're definitely passing because they can't run the ball, or they're you obviously want it to be third and manageable, but even in like a 3rd and 7 situation, you got to watch out for halfback draws, misdirections, stuff. Chip Kelly's, I think, is going to want these guys to be really good run blockers and then be able to sell screens really well. They want to be able to keep the defensive line on balance, or off balance, I should say. So play action is a big part of that for sure. Because I think the big thing about this is I just don't really know I can't visualize it in my head what Chip Kelly's offense looks like. We kind of really don't know. It's not going to be it. Obviously, there's some things from Ohio State you're going to see. There's going to be some things from UCLA that you see. I think he still might bring back some of the Oregon and Philly stuff. That I think he's still going to keep some of that in the bag, especially when you have Tucker and Thornton. Like we might have some fun stuff we can do with those guys, but we really don't know what it's going to look like. Which is why I think they're going to start hot on offense, because neither does any of the defenses they're playing.
Yeah, the offense is so interesting to me because I can't wait to see what he does. Because I think he's been successful in the NFL before. So when it's not like Ryan Grubb, where Grubb couldn't figure out how to get his spread offense to work. Kelly has. We could talk about whatever we want to talk about with him, but he has got his spread offense to work. And he was able to produce with Nick Foles at a very, very high level.
We all saw that game. Yeah. My gosh.
And yeah, they had some great weapons, with him, and a great running back. But I mean, that's what the Raiders are really hoping for too. I mean, the Raiders are hoping that he can maximize the weapons that he has, and help a great running back as well. So I think you have Kelly, who just is going to be able to take this West Coast offense that he was running in college and kind of condense it a little bit. That's what I'm excited about. So I think that it's going to help the whole offensive line as a whole. And, we might even talk about how good Alex Kappa is and stuff. This year.
Put that question from Taddy 707 up there. I think that's a pretty good question. So I'm a little worried about our 2 tight end sets because of lack of speed. If we put Thornton and Tucker as the wideouts, we are taking Jacoby off. Might be easy to play underneath and take our tight ends away. Thoughts? Excuse me.
All right. Go ahead and answer that one. What do you thought?
I think well, first off, Brock Bowers is fast, so
yeah,
he's fast. Yeah. And then also you do that against teams like they play Dallas this year. Dallas's linebackers are like 215 pounds. So you line up in 13 personnel and just go, I dare you guys to stop the run right now. And then you spread them out. You don't do a game of 13 personnel. You find certain matchups where that works,
Yeah. I think with that type of situation, that's what it's going to be based on. I think a lot of what they do is going to be based on matchup. I talked about this on the radio a little bit, that if the Raiders play a team that can't stop the pass, they're going to pass. Exactly. If they play a team that can't stop the run, they're going to run. Right. And then, I don't know if they could really be boxed into like a certain type of team, because, you can come out with Geno Smith and be a pass heavy first half, right, where he throws the ball a lot, and then you build the lead, and then you just run the damn football, and then the way they play defense, the other teams keeps playing kicking field goals, you can build that lead, and then you can kind of grind it out, because that's really the analytical viewpoint of football right now, is just pass in the first half, run in the second. So when you have Geno Smith, you could pass a lot in the first half, because then you can mix it with play action. You can do those things, especially with Ashton Genty, and then you can kind of run the ball and run the clock out when you build a lead, right? So I think that's going to be the viewpoint of Chip Kelly. I hope so, but we'll see. You'll see. If they get run heavy, they're going to be run heavy. But I think when you have Geno Smith, you can have that plan where you can pass a lot early on.
Yeah, that's what you hope. You hope when you just, it's your dream as a fan when you just see like, look, these guys are bad at this, but then coaches, sometimes realizing, going, okay, just because we want our identity is this, that defense is bad at this, let's just attack that, and a lot of coaches don't do that. A lot of coaches just go, yeah, but we're good at this. Even if that team's better at stopping the run than the pass, our run game, nobody can stop us. They get really confident about that. But I think Chip Kelly just goes like, they don't know how to do this, and I get to use this part of my playbook. I get to use this part of my philosophy, that because he's such a. You hear any player talk about it. I heard Jackson Powers Johnson talking about it, going like, this guy he knows ball. Like he wants to try everything. So I think they're going to be really, and I think he's really conscious about what he puts on film. I think you're going to see a very vanilla preseason, like extremely vanilla preseason offense, where I think some fans are going to get concerned, where they're going to go like, why is it tight end in the flat? Oh my God, just tight end in the flat. Like, Chip, open it up. And then you're going to see him open it up once the season starts.
I agree with that. That's a good call right there. He's asking what my IG is. Maybe check. It's Energy Mark if you really, really, really want to do that. You guys ever watch the Angry Raider content? He's good.
I have not.
I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, Angry Raider.
Maybe he's good. I don't know. But
that's what I'm saying. No disrespect. Why couldn't it be Tyree? The bum has no twitch, no bend, no moves.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Tyree's. I think Tyree's never going to be the top 10 pick we want him to be, but I think he can still be a productive football player at that. I think he can be a productive football player, and I think that's what he's going to be. And I think this year is when you're going to see it. So I think he's going to do a couple things really well, a couple things not so well, and that's going to be his scouting report for the rest of his career. But the minute the Raiders let him go, somebody else is going to go, well, I know what he is. I'll take him, So this is the year. This is He's year 3. He's had the same defensive line coach, same defensive coordinator, and then you're adding Pete Carroll, who should be able to motivate you even more. So go kick somebody's ass, dude. Like, seriously, he can really save the Raiders season. He can save the Raiders defense if he has a breakout year.
Yeah, I think Foxy Scorpios just sent him some witchcraft, and maybe it could help him.
Whatever, literally whatever. Yeah.
Go ahead. Do that.
Yeah,
Foxy Scorpio. Mm-hmm. All right. What's the word on Charles Grant and Caleb Rogers again? They really haven't said anything.
There's no
I mean,
pads. There's no pads. I'm
pads.
sorry. There's no pads. You get rookies with no pads on playing in the trenches. It's really, really hard to scout them or really glean anything from them other than where they're playing. Like I heard Vinny tell some story. Vinny Bonsignor tell some story. Like I think it was a couple years ago at Raider camp. Like some practice squad guy was with the first unit and everybody was making a big deal about it. But then you just found out the starter was in the bathroom. So it's like we don't really know. You know, it could be anything. And camp we'll find out though, because the pads will go on. And I found out a funny thing about Pete Carroll from that Marshawn Lynch podcast was that he's gotten in trouble with the NFLPA a bunch of times for practicing too hard. Like he likes to hit during practice. Everybody thinks it's fun and everybody rolls around in a big ball and like, you know, Jordan Peterson comes out and talks to people like they think it's all the like that type of stuff, like all the circus. He likes to hit people during practice.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to pin his own players during practice. So there you're going to see, I think you're going to see some physicality tests on these O-line guys immediately. And if Caleb Rogers comes out and passes those tests and does well in the Kelly scheme, then yeah, who knows? But I think Grant's a project, so Grant's gonna take a little time.
I forgot Carroll was a Jordan Peterson guy. Forgot about that.
They look like brothers. It's funny. He invited them to Seattle. Yeah, it's like an old Twitter thing. And I swear to God, they look like brothers, dude. It was crazy. Yeah.
Seems like the run game should be strong this year with Genty. Curious about the passing game though. Will Myers have another 1,000-yard season? Will Thornton have a killer rookie campaign?
I think Myers can get 1,000 yards again, no problem.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
I hope Tucker has his breakout year. That's just what I'm hoping, and I hope Thornton is, like I said, has a few big plays, just like big play where like, oh, we needed that offensive stall and Thornton to the house like a couple of times, really igniting the offense, because I think that's how it should work. And I think people are sleeping on Tucker. Mm-hmm. I've heard people basically saying, yeah, Thornton's having a great camp. He's a specimen. I mean, whatever. But they said Tucker's really getting it right. And we've all seen that stat where he had some of the worst, completion percentage, or I forget what it was, like just uncatchable throws while he was open. So Gino's accurate as hell. That's one thing he definitely is. And I really think Tucker's the sneaky 1,000-yard guy.
Yeah, I think that too. Because I mean, people got hype over Thornton having that day with the big catch, and people talked about that a lot. But every other tweet is Tucker beating somebody. So
all right,
we'll see how that goes. But we'll see how it works out. And Tucker blocks too.
So does Thornton.
I know Thornton does block, but I mean that's basically who's going to win the job is who blocks better. I feel like this guy's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, running the ball and stopping the run, I think they're going to be really good at this year.
Yeah. What else? We'll talk about Geno Smith here, I believe. What's everyone's confidence our coaching staff doesn't get embarrassed on the second half adjustments? It's been bad for a long time.
I'm pretty confident in that. I think Graham and Kelly are kind of similar in the fact that they're kind of game plan guys more than they are scheme guys. It's game plan. We do this against this team. We do this against this team. I think Carroll's kind of ready for whatever's thrown at him. There's nothing he really hasn't seen. I think fourth downs are going to be weird. I don't think he's going to be that aggressive on fourth down. I think people are going to get mad. I think he's going to punt the ball more than any of us want to see it, like on 4th and 2 or something, I think he's going to do that more than a lot of us, but I think he's going to be consistent in that regard though. Like, I don't think it's going to be like Antonio Pierce where like, wait, you went for it here, but you didn't here. Like that doesn't make any sense. But I think as far as making adjustments, I mean, they're paying this coaching staff a shit ton of money, man. I mean, and the Brady effect is real. We'll talk about that in a little bit. They better make these adjustments. I expect to see competent game planning this year, even if the players are still, even if the roster's still not quite where we want it.
Yeah. Who's playing NT? Probably Zach Carter or Lalu. So
and that Fotu. I mean, look, man, you can't sleep on Lakey Fotu. I mean, he's got the body that those guys don't.
Yeah.
And then I will say with the run game, I'm not super worried about Wilkins because I think they're pretty poised to stop the run even without him. Landon Roberts, Jermaine Pratt, Crosby, You know, like they have Chin. Yeah, they're gonna be able to stop the run. I think Wilkins are not. It's the pass rush. To me, it's the third down pass rush. Are you gonna who does that? And that's gonna be a huge camp. That's probably the number one camp battle now if Wilkins isn't playing this year.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Geno Smith top 8. So I want to bring up this article here. Let me get to Geno Smith. Even though Geno Smith does he get a write up? No, he didn't get a write up, of course.
Only top 5 got write ups.
Only top 5 got write ups, but Geno Smith came in at number 8 on the Yahoo.com list. I should pull up the Twitter here because the Twitter got people. The actual list got a lot of people upset.
If I was a Washington Commanders fan, I'd be pissed.
I mean, and you know, it's funny. Like I kind of get it because even when I'm doing my top 10, I'm doing like my top quarterbacks right now, and I get super hesitant to put rookies in the top 10.
Of course,
right? And the reason why is just because like I want to see you do it again.
Oh, you mean second year guy? Yeah, like guys who off of their rookie season. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
it's hard for. It's just hard for me to do it. Right.
Do you have the list? Do you have it?
I'm trying to pull it up. Like I can't find it now.
Okay. Well, I know Geno was right around Stroud, which to me is interesting. I understand. Okay, like you said, you don't put Daniels in the top 10, but you're going to put Stroud, who I thought honestly didn't play well last year. You could say if it's for a million different reasons, whatever, that's fine. He just didn't play that well, in my opinion, last year. So I'm like, well, you didn't really see him do it again. Yes, they won their division, but it was the easiest division to win in the NFL. Their defense is, in my opinion, top 5 in the league. And Joe Mixon did a lot of stuff for them. Daniels, to me, I thought just took that Washington team and just like literally got them in the playoffs from nothing. So to me, I would have him over Stroud just right now, with the complete possibility that Stroud could overtake him with a good season this year. But Geno at 8, that's the highest I've seen him.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pull it up right here. Boom. Okay.
Got it. Okay. So Mahomes number 1, Lamar Jackson number 2, Josh Allen number 3, Joe Burrow number 4, Justin Herbert number 5, Matthew Stafford number 6, Dak Prescott number 7. That's crazy. Geno Smith number 8, Jordan Love number 9, CJ Stroud number 10. I actually think Geno belongs kind of more than Dak Prescott does right now, and I'm typically a fan of him. I'm not a big Jordan Love guy at all. I think he's in like the perfect system for him, and I still think he's at times a liability. But he's also kind of Russell West. He's kind of Russell Westbrooky to me. Like I think he's like a Russell Westbrook where you're like, damn, that dude balled out today. Like you're reading the box score, and then you watch like, God, he missed that though. He missed that throw when we needed that one. Like we threw that pick. The pick was awful, and stuff. But I mean, the top 4 is pretty. You can't really debate the top 4. And to be honest, I think Joe Burrow had the best quarterback season out of any of those guys last year in the regular season. I literally think he played the best quarterback last year in the regular season out of any of those guys. Herbert at 5. How? I don't get that. What last year told you he's a top 5 quarterback? They ran the ball. That's like literally they ran the ball. That was how they started beating teams last year. And then he shits down his leg again in the playoffs.
Again.
Literally shits down his leg. And I mean, I don't know if he literally did, but maybe the next gen stats had that. But he was horrible in that. Once again, he had the same exact season he had a couple years ago. Everyone just like the Chargers are just one of those teams everyone pretends to love, they don't deserve the criticism the way other teams do, because what's he doing that Dak Prescott isn't doing? He's doing the exact same thing that Dak Prescott does. And Dak Prescott's a meme where people, when there's an attack, they put terrorist garb on him, like for intercepted missiles, they put Dak Prescott, but Justin Herbert doesn't get memed that way. Yeah. So neither of those guys I think Herbert's like right around where Geno is. I think him and Geno are right next to each other.
Yeah.
But I mean, who's missing? I mean, I feel like there's guys missing out of this top
10. Jared Goff.
Yeah. I would have him.
See, a lot of this, because if you keep real, this is the Ringer group chat. list. If you want to keep it real, this is really what this is.
Stephen Ruiz
Yeah,
list.
the Ringer nerds, right? Your Yahoo Sports nerds group chat. Where,
Charles McDonald is very much one of those type of guys. I know he's always been Yahoo forever, but yeah, you're right. You're right. He's 4 verts, right? That's him. 4 verts.
Yeah. They're all the same group chat, and they all, glaze Justin Herbert a lot. That's why Herbert's 5, because that is like that's their guy. Like they've been trying to say he's the best quarterback. And I remember Stephen Ruiz had him number 2, like at one point. Like bro, come on, dog. Like you and to me with Herbert and I hate hating on him because I really do think he's a better quarterback, and I think Jim Harbaugh's just terrible for him.
Yeah, it's
me watching that Chargers break. When I did that Chargers break, I'm like, bro, like you Chargers are so hilarious, man. You give him this terrible ass offense, hilarious, but like he don't win shit, man. Like, and we could do the whole quarterbacks don't win thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know people like to do that, like, oh, you're doing QB wins. It's not a stat. I'm super cool. But like, bro, like we don't do that with basketball. See, that's the thing. Like, if James Harden don't win a lot, we shit on James Harden.
Right. Well, it's more individual. The game is so individual.
I get that. I get it. But dog, you were up 27-3, and you have one of the worst throws I've ever seen in the red zone that would have ended that game. You literally threw it in the stands, my dude. Like Keenan Allen was so open. If he makes that throw, we're not talking about Justin Herbert like that. Like we might be agreeing with this, but he threw it into the stands. Like it was like nowhere close to him. He's like, he clean pocket.
Yeah,
it would have been 34-3. I don't want to hear it with Justin Herbert. Like, do I think Justin Herbert's like 9 or 8? Because even on my ALPA show, I told Chris he's gonna be 9 and 8 his whole career. Mm-hmm. He's never really going to get past that because he does have some great film, right? And I do think he's a smart quarterback, and I think if he had a better system, you could win with him. Mm-hmm. But like, he's just not like we talk about the alphabet. He's just not
right.
Alpha.
Also, I think you said he's smart. I think he's too smart.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Josh Allen's able to kind of flip on that switch where he's like, "Let me just put the IQ to the side for a little bit. My team needs a play. I'm gonna go make a play." It might end horribly, but I'm gonna go make a play. Joe Burrow's able to really like, you know what? I am getting blitzed. I'm gonna hold this ball for a split second too long, and I'm gonna throw it downfield. I got 2 receivers I trust, right? Very Favre kind of like he's able to do that. Lamar's got some demons to get over, but he's able to be like, you know what? We're going to take it to the backyard and we're just going to go make a play because I'm that good. Mahomes, obviously, we know he does that. Herbert doesn't do that. And he's 6'6" with a rocket arm and can move. Like, that's the weirdest part about it, but he plays like Alex Smith. So... Yeah. That's the weirdest part about this whole thing.
See, the thing is, that's my problem too, is that he's too coachable, in my opinion. Like, Joe Burrow, like I feel like that he's gonna do whatever he wants. I think Josh Allen, those type of guys, Lamar Jackson, they're gonna do a thing. Even Stafford, I think Prescott is just too high. I think they're relying on 2021 too much, 2022. Like, he hasn't been the same guy the last couple of years. So you could keep lying to yourself about that. I think Stroud is. It's hard for me. I want to watch Stroud. That's one of the next guys I'm going to watch. I want to watch him before I kind of get fully into judging him. Jordan Love, he needs to run game too much. He's a play action quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. They had to start. Jacobs ran the ball 300 times. If you're top 10 quarterback, you shouldn't have 300 carry running back. I'm going to keep it real with you guys.
Well, so what? But what if Geno Smith has that this year?
Well, I think Geno Smith's gonna have a way better year than he probably should. Like, I even think that's high for Geno.
Well, right. I just mean like you'd have to take him out of the top 10 because I honestly think Jordan Love could benefit from like a Chip Kelly type, like that type of offense.
Yeah.
And I think Geno, we can expect similar things. I think Geno's smarter with the football, to be quite honest. Like, I think Jordan Love is really reckless. If you throw picks in college, you will throw picks in the NFL. Like, it's just, I'm sorry, it's going to happen. Like, those are 2 things that travel with you. Pocket presence as well, right? You either can, which I think he's good at, but to me, I'm trying to think. Like honestly, like there's a case for Purdy in there. I know a lot of people don't want to say it,
Yeah,
but
Purdy too. Because really, what this is the cool throw list.
yeah, nobody likes Purdy. Nobody likes Purdy. It's weird. Like I think he's a damn good player. Like I to be honest, like if the Niners weren't going to pay him and the Raiders didn't have a quarterback, I'd be like, I think he's a baller. I don't know. I just think he's a. Obviously, he has his limitations, the downfield stuff. But I'd be like, ooh, we play indoors. You know, I was kind of thinking like we play indoors most of the year. Like I'm not tripping off Brock's arm. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think Hurts. I mean. Like my thing, like Stroud, the biggest imposters on this list to me are Stroud. You could even say Geno to a degree. I think Geno's right around where Stroud should be. I think you can put him anywhere there. But then also Dak, who I actually think is better than he gets credit for. And then Herbert. Like those are the ones. Like to me, Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl last year, and he played his ass off. Like yes, you can't put Jordan Love in there because of the run game and not have Jalen Hurts, who does what Jordan Love does, but better.
I know. That's the thing with Jordan Love. Yeah. Jordan Love is the one who shouldn't be on the list. I think Stroud, I'm interested. That's why I want to watch him before I just go in on him, because I still think he is really good. I just think he's line dependent. He's not like this big athletic guy who can make plays. Like, so if his line sucks, he's not gonna play well, right? I mean, he's kind of that player. And when he came out of college, like his question was what? Pocket presence. I don't think he's that super pocket navigator, but if he has time and he can read the field probably just as good as any of these guys. So that's what's crazy with CJ Stroud. And then he didn't have Nico Collins. He was missing Tank Dell. He is like a point guard quarterback with a little bit of swagger. So kind of like Joe Burrow. That's why I see Stroud and Burrow a little similar.
Yeah,
they are point guard quarterbacks.
But Burrow's a pocket beast, though.
Yeah,
I mean Burrow's feet in the pocket are. I mean, it's like that's the stuff. That's like the reason why he's good is because of that. Whereas Stroud, you got to see it. And look, let's be real. Joe Burrow's offensive line wasn't really any good last year either. So
Burrow's a different beast, though. Like, I'm not gonna put Stroud up there, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, he easily could. I mean, they're bringing in the McVay kind of style for Stroud this year. He could absolutely cook this year, and it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, and I love Lamar Jackson, but I still think we should be doing Mahomes and Allen until further.
Me too. No, I agree with that too. I don't like fight that too hard. I don't think that's that. I know between the fan bases of those teams, that's egregious. Like Allen and Lamar have a huge kind of rival, especially because last year how that game ended. But they have like a huge rivalry. I think it's Mahomes and I lightweight think Burrow's better than Lamar too. Just right now, just right now. But again, you can scramble that top four any way you want. I'm not going to be offended by it. It's just and to me, I think Stafford's number 5. I think Stafford is a monster. Like I think he's Brett Favre reincarnated. Like and people just don't like. I don't know. I think people for some reason they just think it's all Sean McVay, but you saw the limitation with Jared Goff, who we think should be in this top 10. We were saying right now, you saw the limitation, but then you saw what Stafford did, where again Stafford's able to play the Jackass theme song in his head and do something really stupid that works because his team needs a play, and you can't have Herbert over Stafford in any category. I'm sorry.
So a couple of guys missed off this list before we move on. That's why eliminator got the bathroom. I just got the bathroom. What is this whack ass list? That's hilarious to me. I don't know why. But Baker Mayfield's missing, Jaden Daniels, right? You talk about Jalen Hurts. I can see why Jalen Hurts isn't off, but you're right. You can't have Jordan Love on here, Jalen Hurts off it. But what about Baker Mayfield? Daniels?
Yeah, I think I think Daniels did something really special last year.
I think so too.
So I think to me, Daniels, I would have him just over Stroud because I would get the argument against it. Otherwise, I would have Daniels on there. I don't know about Baker, to be honest. I don't know about Baker. I think Baker and Geno would be fighting over kind of where they're at in there. But I think Baker is like 12 to 13 over there. I mean, Baker. I think he's great. I think he's a very good quarterback. I wish the Raiders signed him a couple of years ago, but they just he also has some interception stuff that's like, damn, you can't throw that. Like you just, and it's not even like, oh, my team needs a play. Let me make this. It's like your team needs you to play quarterback and play point guard and you decided to just throw it, double coverage for no reason. But you realize, I mean, what this list does show is, as kind of bad as it is just the tier system and how interchangeable after the top 4 everything is.
Yeah, you're right, dude.
Like, I mean, I'd say top 5. I think Stafford is a confirmed top 5 quarterback, and if Stafford was 10 years younger, he'd be number 1 in my opinion. Like to be honest, like I think he's legit the best quarterback in the league, and that was at the beginning. That was a pipe dream in the offseason this year. I was like, can we get a couple years of Stafford? Especially if they had Chip Kelly, that would have been crazy. That'd have been scorching. And you still draft Genty out of it. Like, yeah,
man.
Yeah. I'd be like, we'd be cooking right now with Stafford, Brock Bowers, Georgia connection. I'd be, yeah. So to me, but after that, it's like, it kind of is up to like what you like in your preference and what you, that's when the ifs come in. The top 5 is no ifs.
Yeah. I agree, because like after that, like it's really a toss up. It's really how you feel, and I think people get too emotional about it. Like, oh yeah. Like, and no, it's just really about how you feel at that point, and it's really a toss up. And I'm noticing that because, once I start digging into these quarterbacks more and more, like it's really all about preference, because there just isn't, outside of those guys, there just isn't like you can win with them, but like will they really win it for you? That's when it's. To me, it's really not a lot of guys besides the top 4 where I feel like those guys could just carry you, because Joe Burrow did carry that sorry ass team last year.
That team sucked. I mean, they stunk. I'm telling you, they're picking number 1 overall if Burrow's not on that team. Like they were terrible. You could say anything you want about Jamar Chase, say anything you want about T. Higgins. They're poorly owned. Like their GM's not really that good.
Yeah.
They definitely lucked out on Higgins and Chase. Otherwise, what else? I mean, Yoshivai, they have like some fun little players, but their defense is awful. And when you watched them last year, they battled hard against teams that should have kicked the shit out of them. And it was because Burrow was that good.
Yeah. They're talking about Stafford. Who said Stafford's better than Mahomes? Because
I didn't say that. I said I would have him if he was 10 years younger. I'd have him at number 1. I'd think you'd be the best. If Stafford had his career with Sean McVay instead of whatever they were doing with the Lions all those years, I'm sorry with Puka. I mean, it is about having that, but like I wouldn't have him over Mahomes, but I would have Stafford. I think Stafford is a first ballot Hall of Fame, like no problem. I mean, he's just, that arm is stupid. It's still insane.
See, the reason why I think Mahomes is the unquestionable best quarterback in the NFL, because you can't prove to me the Chiefs are actually a good team the past 3 seasons.
Yeah. It's funny, on defense they do a fantastic job of like drafting and the scheme, but on offense it's kind of like, man, they really make some really dumb moves. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
It's literally them keeping the game 13-7,
right?
And then Mahomes go win it for us, and that's basically what they do. They've been doing that for 3 seasons, and they got 2 Super Bowls out of it, I think. So,
well, and you're also shocked when something doesn't work out. Like you'll see a play where the protection breaks down. He'll scramble. He'll be completely lost, and then obviously sometimes the referees help him out. But like there will be a time where like he'll just make this crazy play, and you're just like, you're not shocked that it happened. Like in the Super Bowl when they beat the Niners the first time when he hits Tyreek Hill down the field. And you're just like, I'm actually not shocked that happened. And you're actually shocked when it doesn't happen. You're like, whoa. It's like when they kill the main character in a series you're watching for 4 seasons. You're like, wait, it didn't work? I mean, we're happy. We're celebrating. Yeah. But you literally expect him to make the play that your team's not making.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's why he's number 1. It sucks. It sucks. I hate it.
I know.
But I will say, like, I could say after this year, I could see Geno I could see him earning. This is a little predictive, I think this list is. I could see him being number 8 after this year.
Yeah, I could see that too, especially with these guys. But I still do think that's the Ringer nerd list. I mean, I
didn't realize until the Raiders got him.
The Ringer nerds love Geno Smith.
All of them, though. Any film person. Like any film person is like, I'm watching the second coming of, whatever. And I've always been neutral on Geno. I'm like, yeah, he's good. He's a good quarterback. He can make plays, good skill set, definitely a leader, like, so I was like, okay, good. I was like, good. But then people were like, "No, dude, you don't understand." Like, and I watched a little bit of his Ted Wynn thing, and I was like, "This dude is smart as hell."
Yeah, he's smart. He don't anticipate though. That's my problem.
I just didn't realize that about him. I didn't know a lot about him. He's a Libra, so I mean, it's it's in the air. I mean, I guess I'm not that shocked, but yeah, geez.
Yeah. He just doesn't anticipate enough for me. Like he has cool throws. That's what I talk about.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Cool throw list kind of type of shit. But
Yeah.
I mean, I like. I'm saying I
Yeah.
like but like I'm not as high as they are
Right.
on him because I think it's like I said it's a lot about cool throws.
His wow throws are insane though. Like you're just like,
Yeah.
woo. And
You know what I mean?
indoors. People forget he's playing a lot of indoor football this year where he is dominant.
I agree, dude. All right. Let's get to some of these questions. So is Tyree Wilson better than
Yes.
Farrell? Yes.
So here's the thing: is I think they're complete people. I always hate when people compare them just because the Raiders picked them high. They're completely different players. Clelin Ferrell has this floor where he can play in the league for 10 years. Tyree Wilson has a floor where he could be out of the league in a couple of years. I don't think he will though, because I think he actually can make like a few splash plays. I think you're gonna be surprised, man. I think he's gonna cause some like sack fumbles this year, some weird plays where you're gonna be like, damn, Tyree Wilson made a crazy play. And again, if the beauty of having Pete Carroll is that if it's not working with us, it's not going to work anywhere. I don't think. I think he's in the perfect position right now to be great. And if it's not, we can feel very comfortable cutting the tie after that. But I think he's a better upside player than Clelin Ferrell, because Clelin Ferrell didn't have the upside. That's why the pick was at the time laughed at.
Yeah. I still can't believe they did that. What is Pete Carroll's influence on Patrick Graham's defense? I think just it'll be more in the secondary. Yeah. So
coverages, big time on coverages. I think they're gonna press a lot more too, like a lot more. That's what's
Eric Stokes. I hope so.
Because that pissed me off about Patrick Graham, to be honest. Because Patrick Graham was like, I think you get, he's the smartest guy in the world, Ivy League school, and you're like, yeah, but it's too cute. Sometimes like you got corners with long arms, just go get up there, see what happens. Like again, it's kind of like be a little primal, and I think Pete Carroll's going to be like, come on, man, look at Eric's arms, Patrick. They're like holding Eric Stokes' arm like out, like look at how long these arms are. Let's play press. I think he's going to be doing stuff like that. I think they're going to press. They're going to be a lot more aggressive in the secondary. And Pete Carroll preaches taking the ball away, and I know a lot of coaches do, but he's like, no, we're going to take the ball away. And that's always been my critique about Patrick Graham, is just like, I don't see a lot of opportunities for playmakers. I see safe scheme where it's like, ooh, we won't get beat over the top on this play.
Yeah.
But, and it's definitely useful. But last year they did that and they couldn't tackle. So it's like, we're not going to get beat over the top, but somebody's going to turn a fucking drag route into 65 yards because we can't tackle. So it's like, okay, if that's still the case, then let's just go press up on these guys and try to make a play.
Yeah, I do think they have a little bit of the same philosophy without not getting beat over the top and like forcing the red zone and forcing teams to kick field goals. But I think the change is just going to be the scheme and how they do things, right? And it's not going to be like the cover 3 they ran in 2012. I think Carroll has definitely developed since then. So it'll be a little bit of mixture of the 2 high cover 3 type of stuff. But I think like the nickel guy is going to be kind of the same. Just the secondary is going to be different, but the defensive line is going to be all Patrick Graham. That's what I think where we're going to see Patrick Graham's true imprint is there.
Yeah, good call.
All right. Do you think the QB battle between Stokes, Bennett, and Porter will go into the preseason?
Put the question up again. I just wanted to read it one more time.
Do you think the quarterback battle between Stokes, Bennett, and Porter will go into the preseason?
I don't think Bennett's going to start. I mean, I'm not saying that's my preference or anything, but I have a feeling Darian Porter's going to start. We'll see what they do with Griffin. If they go sign Griffin, that's basically competition for Porter, in my opinion. Is saying if they go sign Shaquille Griffin or whatever, but that's kind of died down. But if they go bring in a corner that has some starting experience, that's basically saying, all right, Darian Porter, beat him at camp. You beat him at camp, you get the job. But man, Porter, I mean, other than Genty I know they've said things about Thornton, but like Porter's gotten the hype. out of everybody. Where it's like, watch out for this guy. I will say, you watch the videos of him moving like at camp, and you're just like, that's different. Like that's a crazy athlete. Like when you watch him move, his movement skills, and you're like, okay, I get why they're excited about him. But I think Stokes and Porter are the starters. I don't think it's that big of a battle, and I think Bennett's. Is he going to tackle? Are you going to play the slot? I'd prefer him over Lonnie Johnson.
And Darnay Holmes, yes.
And Darnay Holmes, I would prefer if that was the case. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that slot position. I get bringing Jeremy Chin down there. But even Jeremy Chin, I mean, he's just not the greatest cover guy in the world.
I could see teams really deciding to spread the Raiders out on early downs and go, oh, Jeremy Chin's in the slot? Like, we're going to go attack that, because I want Jeremy Chin really like playing in the box, stopping the run, and then playing some dime, like kind of like third down safety linebacker kind of role, that kind of big safety in coverage on third and long. That's what you want him doing rather than covering the slot. That's why I think it's like, man, Bennett, like if what you're saying is true about the shoulder and you're healthy now, show that you can tackle in camp, and I bet you get the slot job.
Yeah, because I just feel like this team is just built to beat the Chiefs. I feel like everything they've done, because what Chin does best in the slot, guard tight ends, and Travis Kelce.
I mean, why not, right? Why?
I get it.
What other team are you gonna? What every team is trying to beat the Chiefs right now. Even teams in the NFC, Niners are probably trying to beat the Chiefs. Like it's the and you even think about the thing with Geno, right? Where does Mahomes actually kill us? At Vegas. That's where he actually kills us. At Arrowhead, he didn't really have that good of numbers against the Raiders the last few years. Like I'm trying to think, like other than that Monday night game that the Raiders kind of had that shootout with them, Mahomes at Arrowhead isn't really killing the Raiders. Like, in fact, I think the defense plays some of their best games at Arrowhead. But indoors, where Geno plays really well, they're like, let's go see if we can get a guy that can beat him in a shootout. Indoors in Vegas, because Mahomes looks arena, like playing in the Arena League again when we play Mahomes in Vegas. So, I mean, Jermaine Pratt, all these guys like Alex Kappa. I mean, why not though? Devin White. I mean, really, like you can, I don't know.
Some of these questions. You'll come more, and then we'll talk about Sam Darnold here.
That's right. Yeah.
Who's bringing the juice and third and long the defense here?
Biggest camp battle, I think, so far. Because I'm already in my mind counting Wilkins is out for the season. In my mind, they have an empty roster spot there. I expect them to add at the position before camp, and I think they want Laulu and Zach Carter to battle there. I think those are the guys they want to. They go okay, and then with Max Kuntz, there. I think Hemingway. I think I don't know. I don't really have this crazy take about Tonka Hemingway. I don't. Yeah. I don't see him being. He would have to have an insane camp and preseason and just being used in a way that he was never used for me to say that he's going to win the job. But I think it's between Laulu and Zach Carter, and then maybe a little third down Tyree Wilson action. On there. It's going to take a village, right? I think it's going to take a committee, and they might go out there and bring in a veteran, maybe even a camp cut as we get closer to the season. Well, because I'm trying to remember Quentin Jefferson a few years ago. Was he a camp cut by somebody, or did they sign him in the offseason? I can't remember how
they signed him in the offseason, I believe.
Okay, but either way, like he wasn't a massive signing, like somebody like that. But he was very productive for the Raiders that year, like forced fumbles, like that. They can go get somebody like that. That's not the down player that Wilkins is, but can go make plays and be part of a rotation. I expect them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're assuming Adam Butler is playing. I guess I kind of.
It's the other position, Adam Butler.
We're assuming.
Yeah. I didn't name it. I just mean there's. I think Butler's playing. I mean, I think Pete Carroll's going to love his selflessness. I think he's going to become a massive Adam Butler fan. So I think that's like he's just such a coach's. Adam Butler is going to play until he doesn't want to play anymore. Like I was just saying, he can be 42 and then be like, he sets guys up and gets that like
what a hustler.
Coaches will employ him until he doesn't want to play anymore. His body holds up. No, he's I don't know about starter, but I just mean he's going to play a lot of snaps. It's that other position, right? That we're just going like, who's there, right? Down to down. Who are you going to, I think they're going to have to rotate a lot of guys there.
Yeah. All right. So probably last topic before we get to the tourney and then answer some questions in between that. So Tom Brady did not want Sam Darnold. He said that I didn't read that whole report, Glenn, so maybe you could speak on it a little bit more than I can.
Right. Well, do you remember the day after the Sam Darnold lost and did not play well against the Rams in the opening round of the playoffs? I sent you a clip of Tom Brady. It was a compilation of Tom Brady going like, yeah, that's just bad quarterback play. I mean, that's a great call by O'Connell. They got receivers there. You got to just sit there. You got to hold that ball for a little while. Oh, you got to get it out here. I mean, anything Sam Darnold was doing, Brady wanted the opposite of, because he called the game. So there's audio of Tom Brady shitting on Sam Darnold for an entire game of football. And I remember sending it to you going like, I don't think they're going to, if Brady has any weight in this organization, they're not getting Sam Darnold. And I to be honest, that's going to be a huge thing this year. Not so much from Raider fans, but Seahawks fans. I mean, the Raiders have Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, and we know what that's like, right? Everybody watched Josh Jacobs on the Packers. Everybody was hoping he'd fumble a few times and, not be that good on that team and stuff. A lot. Seahawks fans are going to be monitoring Darnold versus Geno all year.
Yeah, they are.
So that's it. That's just the way NFL fandom works in free agency and stuff. But I think when you talk about Tom Brady not wanting Sam Darnold, and he didn't get as much money on the open market, so Brady's probably right.
Yeah.
Because remember, people were talking about 45 a year for Sam Darnold, and he did not get that. He got about 10 million less per year.
He messed up Geno's bag. Yeah.
Well, and he's 26. Geno's 34. We're talking about like a guy who he messed up Geno's bag, but like he should be ready for his but we can make him into this. And I think there's some glaring flaws in Sam Darnold's tape that were messed up by O'Connell. Anyways, you couple that with the fact that on the Get Got podcast today, which I listened to, I'd still highly recommend to it. Pete Carroll on there, he was saying that he took the Raiders job. I don't think he was even going to look in the Raiders direction, but he said they hired Tom Brady. And he said Tom being there showed me that they were doing something different. Yeah. It matched my energy. He talked about some of the other co-owners and the shakeup of it. Basically, if it was just Mark Davis saying, "Hey, Pete Carroll, do you want to coach the Raiders?" Click. That was basically the way it was going to be at. Brady has a lot of weight, holds a lot of weight. I think Brady delegates, and he's not a dictator.
Yeah.
Where I think he knows, okay, John Spytek, this is your roster. Pete Carroll, you're going to work with Pete Carroll on this. But I think there's a few things where he's like, you're not bringing in I'm a quarterback. You're not bringing in this trash, in his opinion. I'm not calling Darnold trash, but in his opinion, you're not bringing this trash into my organization. And are you going to overrule me? So there's certain times where I think he's going to pull rank. And I think Darnold was one of them. And I think I'd be willing. I don't know. We got 6 weeks of slow time, so maybe this is the time to do it. I'm wondering if anyone can find some Brady audio of calling maybe a Geno game last year, and was he like getting excited?
That's interesting.
I wonder. I just wonder. He had to have called one Seahawks game. Last year. It'd be interesting.
Probably gets like the Niners or something.
I'm telling you guys, look up that tweet. You can find it. Brady, just type in tweet like Brady Darnold playoff game. See if you can find it. It's like a compilation of him just going garbage, like weak, just like not vibing with Darnold's play at all.
Yeah, because I remember you said it. I actually remember you said to me that, but yeah, because Darnold is with his pocket presence and how late he is with the football, I could just see how that would just annoy the hell out of Brady. So it makes sense to me. It's nothing crazy to me. But I think I actually found some Brady knew he would make Geno Smith a Raider. I found it. Play this audio real quick. Let me look this up.
Let's see.
Let's see it. Hold up. Let me get this up here.
Look how fast you found that. I mean, we'll see, but yeah.
Get the sound on here.
Nick Spark is saying in the chat too. Interesting. And
guys there are
Here
in
you go.
coverage. Just so much depth, and the second he's able to get up.
That's Greg Olson, though, isn't
I was
it?
gonna say it sounds like Greg Olson. Yeah, that
Yeah,
doesn't sound like.
Everyone's got their
That's
I
Kevin
got the right-
Burkhardt. That's wrong. That's fake news, unfortunately. Yeah,
Fake news, guys.
Yeah, that's fake news. Somebody said, yeah, because I heard Kevin Burkhardt, and I'm like, is this with Greg Olson? Yeah. So yeah, I think there's definitely the week 8 against the Bills too. So maybe not. I mean, maybe
they got their
Brady
ass kicked that game, so we're not gonna show that one.
because I think Brady just probably watched a bunch of and again, Pete Carroll and Geno have the relationship, so I think maybe it was just like, I want Pete Carroll, Pete wants Geno, quarterback head coach thing is going to work out really well or something. I just know it wasn't Darnold, and I think if they were going to be willing to dole out a bunch of money for Darnold, I think Brady was going to come in there and go, stop. Like if let's say Darnold was about to put the pen down, and Brady comes in, whoop, no, put that pen away. You know, like, you stink.
I mean, I hope he did that because I didn't want Darnold at all. I was scared.
Yeah, I was okay with it. I still think with him and Chip Kelly wouldn't have been that bad, to be quite honest. But I like Geno more. I like Geno and Pete, especially with Pete Carroll, right? I mean, like, that's the thing, is you're talking about Pete Carroll and Darnold wouldn't really excite me that much. Pete Carroll and Geno, much better.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get some more of these questions here. What do I got? And then we'll get to our tournament. So, Juice, he said, do you remember when Marshawn was a few years away from him? Did that really happen? I thought he just got hurt.
Well, let's put it up again. I couldn't finish it. You remember when Marshawn was a few years away from a 1,000-yard season while at Raider, and they pulled him off the field on the last game so he wouldn't get a bonus? Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember that, but that was probably at the end of some 4-13 season or 4-12 season. That was that 2017. I'm trying to think when he had to have been 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, teams do that. Teams do that.
That's true. Did I ever watch Thornton's tape from Oregon? No, I didn't. But I mean, it's really only like 5 targets, guys.
No, but he's a blocker there. He blocked a lot. That's the thing. That's what people glean from his Oregon time, is that he will, and it makes you think maybe he is going to play a little earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because if Chip Kelly watched you in an Oregon uniform blocking, he might be like, oh, 6'5", blocking. Oh, is anybody here? Let me lock the doors. I'm by myself, you know. Like I think that's what a lot of people say. I think Tennessee, what they were doing is like, you're playing next to the sideline at Tennessee. Who you blocking over there, right? Like, I think it's a bit different what you're asked to do over there. Interesting transfer by him. I still think it's interesting that he transferred. Wouldn't you have stayed at Oregon?
I mean, I would have, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he wasn't playing though, so maybe that's why he felt.
Sure. I just mean, you go to Tennessee where everyone's scared to draft a wide receiver out of Tennessee. Everyone goes like, yeah, but it's Tennessee, and they play like intergalactic football that doesn't exist on Earth. You know, like, I'm not saying I'm not making predictions about Thorne. I just mean, like, at Oregon, for whatever reason, they play a little different, but it always seems like their players maybe can track a little bit better to the league. I don't know, it feels weird that he couldn't see the field. Like, if you stayed there to see the field at Oregon, it's like you're 6'5" and run that fast, they wouldn't play you at all, and you can block. That's weird. I don't know, just weird. You never know, but there's always other reasons that we don't know why people transfer. But I think people are like Lenora Sellers. Did you see that thing about Lenora Sellers, the quarterback from South Carolina, where
no,
he apparently turned down an offer for $8 million to transfer somewhere?
I did see that. I saw that.
But his dad told him, and I don't know. I think his dad has a little bit of money, is what I'm guessing. But I think his dad was like, "Yeah, but like I looked up. He's making 5.1 at South Carolina, which is not bad. I wouldn't. I don't know that I would necessarily leave and risk a a bad year, like an off year somewhere on a transfer, and he's only 19. And they were saying like his dad told him like, hey, just stay there. I mean, you like it. You clearly like it here. And the only thing that's luring you somewhere else is the money. And he's like, you're 19 years old with $5 million, my $5 million salary. Like, and you're, otherwise maybe we got you otherwise. And I think there's going to be a weird regression in the transfer thing for some of these guys. I think the transfer will be more for like cornerback 4 on some teams to go be CB2 somewhere else.
Yeah.
Whereas instead of these big names, Lenora Sellers transfers to whatever, because Nico screwed himself. Nico, I don't want to say his last name, but the Tennessee quarterback screwed himself big time. And I think you're going to see a lot of guys like, maybe I'll stay where I'm at. And you see the way the league valued Genty for staying at Boise State. Because what are you going to do in free agency, right? Teams think like that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, it depends. I mean, I wonder what school it was that gave me offered $8 million.
I would guess Oregon.
You think so?
I'm guessing Oregon. Oregon. It wouldn't be Texas. They have Arch Manning. Oklahoma, maybe.
Yeah, like one of those schools that is like doesn't have a quarterback, but
looking to get back, looking at big school, looking to get back. Like something like that. Because and again, we don't know. It could have been a different number offer, but I thought it was interesting.
What if it was Notre Dame?
If we're spending $8 million, I tell you that much. No, it's interesting. I mean, I would have loved him there, but and actually, your dad's wrong. Yeah, but, yeah.
All right. In the event Wilkins is out, they decide a feature.
Mama's wrong, like the water boy outside TV.
All right. In the events Wilkins is out, do they sign a feature starter and maybe rotational, or do they work with what they have?
Rotational. I think how do you replace I don't know if Wilkins is a star, but he's being paid like one. You replace them with the committee. That's all it is. And they're going to need to rotate. I mean, they're going to need to do stuff with Max, right? And I think on third down, like put Crosby inside sometimes too. Like there's going to be some fun things I think you can do, but it's got to be a rotation. And they need to rotate better on the defensive line anyways, in my opinion. They need to be keeping guys fresh.
He said, do you guys cover Hunter Renfrow being on the Panthers yet? I think we did.
I guess. I don't know. Is he going to make the team?
I mean, probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They took McMillan, Jake Coker, or what's this guy's name? Coker? I can't remember if that's his first name. Guy had a great year for them last year. Leggett.
Yeah.
I think, is he going to make the team?
Is Adam Thielen still there?
Adam Thielen's still there? Is Hunter Renfrow going to make the team?
I don't know. We'll see.
Just saying, like, keep that waste management lanyard. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Ramsey or Simmons?
Don't change your password to the employee portal.
Yeah. Don't get too comfortable. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on Ramsey or Simmons? If adding either one would make a difference.
Simmons had a bad year last year, didn't he? With Atlanta.
What Simmons he's talking about?
Justin.
Justin Simmons.
Yeah, I don't know.
Older, though.
He's older, and I think he had a pretty bad year with the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't a great year.
Wasn't a great year. I think there's going to be. I mean, Ramsey, I would do it, but I think he's going to be a Ram. I saw a lot of Raiders people falling for it, though. You're trading to a team to the West Coast, so it's the Rams. I just hate to break it to you guys. I don't know. I mean, Ramsey would be the guy I'd do it for, but I think the Raiders had the power to do it if they wanted to.
Yeah, they did do it already.
And they didn't. So I think they're the number one team that could have done it, in my opinion. And they didn't. So unfortunately, I don't see that happening. Simmons, is he better than Thomas Harper right now? Like, I don't know.
I mean, it all depends how you look at it. I mean, would he probably be better with Pete Carroll? I think he'd be really good with Pete Carroll.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just a structure of what they like to do. So it wouldn't be too crazy to me. But, those are one of those things where, like, if it gets down to it, so like somebody gets hurt or something like that, then they would bring in Simmons. Simmons is waiting on somebody to get hurt.
For sure. And that's where you get to that point when you're a veteran, you probably are financially somewhat sound. At least you can absorb not have you being in limbo for a little bit, and you're waiting for. Unfortunately, the Raiders aren't these teams yet, but like the Chiefs' safeties to go down, the non-contact injury in Green Bay, these teams that unfortunately are a little bit better than the Raiders right now. You're waiting for that, and then if not, then you sign the 1-year deal with the Raiders, which. Simmons right now is not sparking a lot of joy for me. I wouldn't hate the signing, but I wouldn't be like, oh, the Raiders got better with that signing. I think they really like Polamalu. I think they really do.
I think they really like
I think Pete Carroll loves him. I mean, you talk about the genetic lineage of him. I think, the Polamalu. I think he's definitely, they seem to really like him. He was like one of the first signings.
Yeah. Right away. Last question, then we'll get to the final semis here. Speaking of, will the Raiders finally beat the Chiefs in LV this year?
That'd be great, man. I want to win at SoFi, and I want to beat the Chiefs at home.
Yeah, 2 goals right there.
Just win at SoFi. Goals. Winning at SoFi, I think, is actually the egregious one because they can't beat the Rams there or the Chargers. Pisses me off.
Yes, it's annoying as hell. All right, so let's get to the semis here.
Yep.
Glenn, we're gonna get to the semis. So everybody in here, you definitely, give us your vote. Like, this is your focus right now. We got the semis here. Now, I only did one override last week, and a lot of people get mad at me about this, especially on TikTok. TikTok did not like that I went like the 2000. So 1976 versus 2000, 1967 versus 83. Right? Okay, so we're going to start off with 1 versus 5 here. 1976 versus 2000 Raiders.
It's going to have to be 76. I know the 2000 had a great point differential, but 76 is a team getting over a hump that was... If this was modern day, they'd be on First Take and teams would, what's the deal with the Red? Why can't they beat the Steelers? Why can't they? Why can't they get past that? Stephen A. Smith would be tearing them apart. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Tell me something. You can't say that, like you look at Chuck Noll and Chuck Noll beats the brakes off you every time. Like you'd be saying stuff like that all the time. And
First Take. Yeah.
And Stabler, stop drinking so much. Yeah. Like you'd be saying that all the time. And they finally do it. Whereas the 2000 Raiders, they were an ascending team. The 76 Raiders were putting a bow on what would become a mini dynasty, I would say. I can't call them a dynasty, but a mini dynasty that would last for about 6-7 years. It's 76 for me. Pretty in a landslide kind of too. Though I am, very sympathetic to the 2000 Raiders for nostalgia purposes.
Yeah. It's I would go 76 too. Just because if we're talking about greatest Raiders teams of all time, I mean, the 1976 team, I think even on when the NFL did like their America's Game thing, when they kind of really first came out with that little documentary about all the Super Bowl teams, I think they had this team at 11.
Yeah.
Right. So this team was ranked really high, just on their greatest NFL teams of all time. So them being at 11, you know what I'm saying? It kind of just really puts them to that top level, in my opinion. So even if I kind of feel like the 2000 team, if they won the Super Bowl, we'd have a different conversation with these teams. But I just can't be like, this is like one of the greatest NFL teams of all time. Straight up. And the 2000 team, no matter how I feel about them or what I thought they could have been, they are not that like solidified as one of the greatest NFL teams of all time. Ooh. And the 1976 Raiders is.
Cliff Branch with 1,100 yards in 1976. That's just over the top. Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart, or whatever. Probably the Eagles at that point, the band. Play on the charts at that point. But just absolutely killing it. Like you said, the Soul Patrol. Sistrunk, wasn't Bob Brown on that defense? Like there was some badass dudes on there. Phil Villapiano,
Ted Hendricks,
Matuzak. I mean, it's just, and then like you say, Casper, Bolitnikoff, Cliff Branch, Stabler, one of the greatest offensive lines to ever play.
Exist.
I mean, I would say top 5 in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're right up there with the Cowboys of the 90s.
Mhm.
Just dominant. I mean, I would guess the 2000 running backs maybe have them beat at like running back. You know, the 2000 Raiders,
Yeah.
maybe.
Not really.
Yeah, but not really. Exactly. What position group? I mean, what position group in 2000 are you putting up against 1976? And yes, everybody, oh, they're more athletic in 2000. That's not, no. It's not how this works. What position group, based on how they performed that year, would you put up against the 1976 Raiders? There isn't one. Gannon, maybe, but we're talking about Ken Stabler.
I know. That's the only one would be me for Gannon. That's it. It's close, right? But you know,
Wide receiver. I disagree on wide receiver. I see people putting wide receiver in there. 76 receivers were nasty.
Yeah, it's just you can't like because they're saying Rice and Brown, but no, see, Rice is not the team yet.
We're talking about prime guys versus.
This is James Jett, I think.
Yeah, James Jett. Yeah, you're right. Exactly that too. And also, even if it was Rice and Brown, I still think Branch, and Biletnikoff. Come on, and Casper. Would you have Ricky Dudley on the 2000 team?
Ricky Dudley.
He was nasty for a couple of years.
I used to eat with Ricky Dudley on Madden, so I'm not.
He was like Bubba Franks. He was back then. Him and Bubba Franks were like the guys that were like for like 2 or 3 years were kind of nasty.
Yeah. I mean, you're right about this. Fox Scorpio is outraged. I was outraged for sure. Yeah. So because really the only position you could have a conversation with this is the quarterback. Like I think you could have that conversation. I think you would go Stabler anyways, but I would hear you out.
Yeah, it's more of a debate, but everything else, literally every other position group is more dominant on the 76 team. So 76.
All right, so 76 in the championship. Now this one is going to be super interesting.
Yes, I agree.
It's good. I want to see like what Raiders fans think of this one because this one is super interesting to me. So we got the 1967 Raiders. I mean, we got to understand they won the AFL championship.
Right.
Okay. So technically they did win the championship. Now the Super Bowl was really like a new thing. There was like a tryout. Nobody knew that thing was going to stick yet. Okay. So it's hard to judge them, be like, yeah, they lost Super Bowl though, but it wasn't really the Super Bowl as we think of it. I mean, this is probably one of the best AFL teams of all time. Okay.
Agreed.
Right. So then you got the 83 Raiders, who are up there as one of the greatest NFL teams of all time. But who are you taking here, Glenn? Who are you taking?
I want to go 67 because I'm a secret old head. I want to go. I'm looking at this 83, and I saw the comments from our last time, and we did kind of gloss over the defensive line of 1983.
Yeah.
Lyle Alzado, Howie Long. They got a guy named Bill Pickle, which makes me laugh. But then rookie Greg Townsend, 4th round pick, Greg Townsend.
Okay.
What a steal.
Okay.
What a steal. It's still their all-time sack leader, I think.
Yeah.
Come on. That's insane. You still have Cliff Branch towards the end of his career, but still could get open deep.
Matt Millen.
Todd Christensen. Jim Plunkett comes in and saves the season, basically is after 80. It seems like he was never the guy, but he still had to come in and play. Marcus Allen is at the top of his career. I'm gonna go 83, but I don't want people to. They drafted Don Mosbar. They had a great draft this year in 83. I'm just looking more. Mosbar comes in and starts right away. That's incredible. 67, you can't gloss over because I think they might have been just as dominant, if not more, that year. But 83 winning that Super Bowl in blowout fashion like they did, they killed Washington that year. I mean, and they just with the linebacking core, that defensive end. I mean, this might be the best Raiders defense of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I'm looking at it. I don't know what the metrics are, but it's pretty tough to beat that. And on offense, it's good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you're talking Marcus Allen, top, I think Kenny King, right? You have Kenny King, shout out. And then, and like I said, the tight ends there, they have plenty on offense, but that defense is nasty. So I'll go 83. I'll go 83.
Yeah, to be honest, because the thing is with 83 and this is this because this one is about the quarterback, like, right? So
Right.
to me,
LaMonica was balling in 67.
Right?
He was going crazy.
Yeah, LaMonica versus Plunkett. But when you think about it, like, it's Haynes, it's Lester Hayes, it's the defense, and you have Marcus Allen running the football.
How are you stopping that? How are you stopping that? They play ball control. They can beat you over the top a little bit. And they have tight ends that run down the field, which you didn't have back then.
Yeah.
And then that defense.
It's really close in the chat, man. I feel like it.
I think Andrew. I'll tell you this right now. Andrew Castro in the chat. The only reason I know is because last time you literally had been following the Raiders since Santa Cruz training camp. You decide this pick right now. Andrew Castro in the chat. I hope you didn't go to the bathroom right now or go get something out of your fridge. You decide the winner of this.
Because 83 said the Redskins are the top 3 offense. Man, this is tough for me, bro. Like, it really is. It really, because I can see both sides. Like 83 has the better, like, defensive line and defense, and, like, if you went by the rules, like 6-7 with the 83 guys,
yeah,
it wouldn't be close. So that's kind of my thing too. Like, if we, because when I think about it like this, the NFL size from 67 to 83 didn't change as much as from 67 to like 95.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So with the rule changes, right? The rule changes there. I feel like that the 83 defense would dominate, because, like, Lyle Alzado played in what his first year?
Well, he was with the Broncos, right, for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. God, I am looking at the 67 team. It is loaded, though.
Andrew was 67.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Do we defer? Because
I don't know. I think we're getting more 83 votes here.
Okay.
So I think
I will say, Andrew, I do value your opinion a lot. Because I'm looking at 67 right now. It is dominant. Like, you're looking at, you have, at quarterback, you have LaMonica, and then if you need him, George Blanda, who is Jameis Winston at the time. This dude is Brett Favre, Jameis Winston, like, just grip it and rip it. Like, LaMonica got hurt and we're down, 15, 16 points or something. Blanda could come in and make the plays and kick field goals. But yeah, and then you're looking at the run game. That looked really good. Young Fred Biletnikoff, Billy Cannon at tight end. The deep offensive line is I get why people pick 67, but this is one where you're hoping for a reseed, right? Like, you're hoping for reseeding. You're like, why are we in this bracket, this division? It's a bad bracket, if you're the I think it's 83 though. I think it's 83. I think it's 83.
This is tough for me, man. It really is. Yeah, I guess we should go 83.
We'll go 83. I'm sorry, Andrew.
We'll go 83 for this one, because it's like a little bit of a tie too. If I counted the votes though, it would go 83.
Yeah, no, it's true. Democracy over dictatorship that I assigned Andrew Castro.
Exactly. All right, so our final two is we're gonna have 76 versus 83 next week.
Whew. Oh my God!
I think we're gonna do like an in-depth breakdown. We're going position by position next year.
I'm probably gonna watch the America's game on both teams.
Yeah.
Probably do some. Yeah, because you have a lot of. The thing is, you have a lot of guys who played on both teams.
Yeah,
there's a lot of guys. This is the first merge. Because this is the beginning of an era, end of an era, kind of.
Yeah,
of their Super Bowl.
100%.
It's the first Super Bowl versus their last one. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do positional breakdown. This is gonna be like a whole episode
next week. Literally, hopefully nothing happens next week. So
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a serious
76 versus 83. Yeah, I might have to sit down and watch a little game.
Me too.
Sit down, because they got some stuff on YouTube randomly, like some. I think I have an old DVD set. I still got some physical media. I have an old DVD set of some big Raider playoff games. I might have to put on, just see. I just got to see it in motion. If I see it in motion, I think I can make a call.
Yeah. I mean, you can watch the whole 76 Super Bowl on NFL.
Both Super Bowls they dominated. Both
Yeah.
teams. You can't be like, wow, they barely got by. Both teams, they beat the dog shit out of the teams they were going against. And that was at a time where you were going to, especially in '83, when it was starting to shift back towards the NFC.
Yeah.
A little bit. We had the Niners, teams like that coming in. But man, that's going to be a battle. Yeah. I have no idea which way I'm leaning.
Right now, I that's why I wanted to. That's why I would do like the add the players in.
These are the two best teams. I mean, these are the two best teams. I mean, the two best teams got in, the Blue Bloods. I think 67. I have a very soft spot for 67. But these are the two best teams, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I do. All right. If Geno wasn't the move, then who would Brady have chose? Who would Brady have chose?
Man, that's a great question. I don't know who he likes. Like who does he like? Like and also who was available, right? Like that's the big thing. I think he would have because at the end of the day, he hired Pete Carroll, and I think when he hired Pete, I don't know, he didn't hire Pete Carroll, but the ownership group hired Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll made his decision because Tom Brady was there. And I think Brady might have expected either Russ or Geno, right? Russ was a safe bet. I think they could have got Russ if they wanted him. They could have got it. I think the reunion could have happened. And I think very true. I think he was just like, well, if it's Russ or Geno, and then we figure something out in the draft. And I think that's still the plan, even with Geno, to be quite honest, is that we'll still go draft our guy. And I don't know this whole thing with Cam Miller, where they're like, oh, Brady loves Cam Miller. I don't know about that.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that. Not to the point where you're stopping looking for quarterbacks for the next couple of years. I think the next couple of years it's going to be really interesting his influence on the draft when they go, okay, we have Geno. How far can he take us? And do we want to pay him again? Then I want to see if Brady really puts his draft cap on when they really got to go get a quarterback, like in the draft. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think, if they didn't have Geno Smith, I don't think Sanders falls to the Browns. I think they'd probably take him like in the third round.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. They passed on Sanders, like 6 times, 7 times?
That doesn't happen if they don't have a quarterback.
I think with Geno, I think with Pete Carroll, they were like, okay, you either go. Pete Carroll probably said, no, I can make the Geno deal happen. I already know, like I can go get him. But if not, we'll go get Russ. And then Russ for a year. Next year, you see what happens. Like that. So sure, that's I mean. And then, like I said, you got a very interesting quarterback class next year. And if Geno is good but not great, and you have 2 more years left of him, especially that third year is kind of optional, you're going to really see Brady, I think, step in. Because one thing about Brady, I'll just say this. He's the next owner of the Raiders. Like majority owner of the Raiders.
I think so.
I don't think people understand this.
Mark
Davis doesn't have kids that we know of, and you damn know a woman would have came out if he did. There's no one hiding a Mark Davis kid right now. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, if he did, people would speak up because you'd have the heir apparent of a sports franchise, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Brady's the next guy. So like I think he's gonna eventually like go, I want to get my quarterback in there. And I'm actually kind of interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah, Sanders been pulled over 3 times already? I thought it was just once.
That's crazy.
God damn.
Yeah, you gotta chill out, dude.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow.
You grew up rich too. It's not like you just got a nice car.
I know.
Yeah.
I think we kind of answered this question a little bit. Yeah,
it's an open thing. Like we'll see. Because now, I will say this: if Geno comes out and balls out and plays to that top 8, he's gonna be our quarterback for the next 5-6 years.
I agree.
And Brady's not gonna be opposed to paying a guy late in his 30s either, because obviously. Look what happened to him. Age ain't good. The thing is about with the Raiders, you're going to have a 73-year-old coach and a quarterback who won a Super Bowl when he was 40. They're not going to trip off quarterback age at all. Or I think he tried to make a Stafford deal and it didn't work. And that's fine. Tried to get Ben Johnson, tried to get Stafford, and this is a great second option.
Second option. Yeah. Honestly, great second option. What's the over-under rate on the Raiders returning a kick for a touchdown this year?
Ooh.
It's a good question.
I don't know. I don't know if that's phrased. So the over-under would be 0.5.
Yeah.
Because most teams don't even get one. I'll take it. I'll take the over.
I'll take the over too.
I'll take the over on you.
Why not?
Screen cap this guy's. I'll take the over because I still want to see Dante Thornton return a kick. A kick. It's different than a punt.
Mm-hmm.
A kick is like make one guy miss, and that's what I'm like. I think Thornton can do that.
I think Trey Tucker's would be the kickoff guy this year.
One of those two guys for sure. Yeah. Malott. I hadn't heard a lot about Tommy Malott.
I have not.
He was the guy after the draft. Watch out. You didn't hear anything about him, but I'd like to see him on kick returns too.
Yeah. We'll get to see him a lot in the preseason, probably.
For sure.
What was the problem with Nico guy? Nico sucks. I don't know what he's thinking.
Look, guys can improve, but why would you not want to improve at Tennessee? I don't get that. Like going to UCLA, like you don't transfer to UCLA from Tennessee in any circumstance.
100%, I agree with that.
You just don't. So he thought that a Georgia or Bama was gonna come get him, and they were like, "No, we're good. We saw you already. You stink.
Yeah, you suck, man.
You stink, and we're not paying you anything." Like what I mean is, like Nico. Apparently, his dad told him he was worth $20 million. He had, and then or whatever. He thought you could get money anywhere. You're the best. Lenore Seller's dad said, "You're 19 years old, and I think South Carolina has a very short. I think South Carolina has a chance to win the SEC this year. I think they're good. I think they're really good. Good young defense. Good quarterback. Sellers is a beast. People giving him the Richardson comp doesn't make sense. He's going to start 3 times the games in college that Richardson does, so he's going to get way more experience than Richardson ever got. They have a chance to win. Whereas Nico, it was just kind of like, hey, go leave. Tennessee stinks. Like, go leave. Okay, now you're in UCLA now for Deshaun Foster. See what happens.
Yeah, have fun, bro.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten, too.
In the Big Ten. You're still going to play tough defenses, but UCLA is not that good at football. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. What's the greatest Raider play of all time?
Goes to the post is pretty tough to beat. Sea of hands.
Yeah, that's how it's going to go.
Sea of hands. Holy roller is interesting because that's kind of a technicality, right? Like that's like we didn't know you could do that kind of situation. But I think it's between Ghost to the Post and Sea of Hands. Willie Brown pick 6 in the Super Bowl with the Bill King call, pretty tough to beat. And then the Marcus Allen reversing Fields. To be honest, I'll give it to Mark. I'll go just because it's the Super Bowl. Marcus Allen reverse.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with the Marcus Allen the first. I agree with that. Yeah, because that's the most memorable for sure. Like off the top of my head, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
What's the best Raiders nickname of all time? Then we get out of here.
Oh man,
Mad Stork.
Mad Stork. You can't beat Ted Hendricks coming in on with the big long features and then coming in on the horse, riding the horse into practice. I hope they do that in the movie. The John Madden movie. I hope they recreate that.
Yeah, the Mad Stork, Soul Patrol. Yeah, it's good. But I feel like it's just like for a player, right? I mean, and
that was
him being a Hall of Famer, and then like him, and him playing
Dr. Death. Skip Thomas was that Skip Thomas? Yeah, that's pretty tough. Yeah, that's pretty tough too. But no, I don't think you could beat the Mad Stork.
Yeah, I don't think you beat the Mad Stork either, guys. All right, guys. So we are out of here. We thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. And we know it's a slow period, but we still got a good amount of people. We got over 300 in here today. So it's during the slow period. I think it's pretty damn good in my opinion. So hit the subscribe button. Subscribe, and come back with us next week, guys. We're gonna be finishing up the tourney here. We got 76 versus 1983 coming up. I don't know. So we need the fan vote. You guys want to send me fan votes before that? I mean, you guys could do your own research. We're going to add them up, and we're going to decide who is the greatest Raiders team of all time. So we'll be back next week, guys. Like I said, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. We're out of here. Peace.
See you guys.